That's a crazy, crazy, crazy freaking rainbow right there. Holy shit. Wow. 6.5 hours back from the city that never sleeps, Manhattan. 6.5 hours of thinking, planning, process. Good drive time, really good drive time. I was in one of my meetings over the last few days. I was up in this, beautiful high rise and meeting with a banker and having some good discussion. I've done a vlog before how on bankers are partners, not enemies, when I was a young entrepreneur. A stage one business, and if you're a young entrepreneur in stage one business and you're working with a banker and you haven't proven yourself and you don't have anything to show for it yet and you don't have any equity in much, you're what's considered high risk tolerance. What we do in Origin and Draco Fuel brand building in general is high risk tolerance. But I remember thinking the bankers was my enemy. That mindset of even my first $2,000 loan, I'm gonna have to pay these bankers all this money and they should give this to me because I'm going to pay them all this extra interest, and isn't that the point of a bank? And it's not. Bankers are partners. They're going to fund your dreams, and they're not going to fund your dreams and ideas if they don't believe in what you're doing. And the way they get that belief sometimes is a proven track record. It's making sure you have a debt to equity ratio that matches. And sometimes it doesn't always, and especially with an ABL bank, that's called asset-based lending. So they're going to lend against assets. Like we might have a bank that lends against inventory or real estate or something. And then there's bigger banks with a higher risk tolerance that are more apt to lend. Check this out. This is kind of cool here. It is raining. The freaking sky here in Maine right now is pink. Higher risk tolerance, but there's different types of financing, and you'll discover this in your journey. And of course, I had to learn this all on the job because I didn't know. I didn't go to business school. There's a dollar amount that these folks can borrow against. It used to be called LIBOR, and now they transitioned this to a term called SOFR, SOFR, which is really just a standard overnight finance rate, right? Is what they call it. This is kind of what the world trades on. SOFR. LIBOR was like London Inter Exchange something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that's like the cost of money, right? So consider it around a SOFR rate. So if SOFR is 4%, that banks get to borrow against, but also, damn, look at that freaking rainbow is here again, and it's freaking probably dropping right on top of my house somewhere. That has gotta be one of the freaking brightest rainbows I've ever seen in my life. It's freaking wild. Why is it that the closer you get, it just keeps moving on you, and there's never a pot of gold on it? So that is kind of what banks borrow against, then they charge a bit more on top of that, you know. And also like ultra high net worth individuals can borrow the same. They can basically borrow what a bank can borrow, or high net worth individuals can borrow what a bank can borrow. But the way money works, like, it's so intriguing to me. Just the way it works, the way it functions. Money as a function of humanity, money as a function of society. We need it to live. We don't live in a barter system anymore. We use fiat currency, which is paper money, which is basically a note
0.2 miles.
that used to be backed by gold, which isn't anymore. We came off the gold standard. But it's such an interesting thing, just, you know, money in general. And I didn't understand it up until probably the last 6 years, 5 or 6 years, and I'm still learning every day about it and how it works. I don't know why my GPS is on. This is the road I grew up on, so let me just do that. Just the way it works, it's really, really intriguing. I think if you understand something, like have institutional knowledge about something and the way something works, then you're more apt to think more thoroughly through how to access it. And of course, to grow two brands, you know, a couple $100 million of revenue a year, we've had to access money, and literally starting from remortgaging my house. And before that, it was nothing. It was just hands in daylight, chainsaws and gasoline, you know, and somebody else's chainsaws and somebody else's gasoline. And so I've gotten to experience how money works, how to lose it, how to make it work for you. And the way the world looks at it, and the way the world uses it, and the way these banks use it and leverage it, and how they're in everybody's pockets, and how this also can influence policies in legislature, because those with the money influence the people in power, you know, lobbyists, and it's just a really interesting thing. That ADHD moment on all that. And ask me questions if you're a young kid, if you haven't gone to business school, or if you have, or if you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur, self-made man or woman, and you have more questions on this idea around like raising capital, finding dollars, how it works, please comment below, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. But I digress here, because my point of this whole thing was I was in this meeting at this big bank downtown Manhattan, and I was talking with this banker, you know, beautiful big boardroom, you know, snacks and whatnot, and it's one of the biggest banks in the world. Anyways, I'd never taken notes in a banker meeting, but this old timer, he had things to say that I'd never heard, and I just want to read 3 of those things, because I literally said in the meeting, I said I need to take some notes. I've never heard anybody put it like this before, and it was so simple what he was saying. It made so much sense to me, and so 3 things. The first one is, he said, is when money is almost free, bad things happen. When money is almost free, bad things happen. And companies take bigger, bolder risks, and have traditionally done that when it's almost free, because you're truly spending somebody else's money kind of without any repercussions. And big mistakes can happen when money is almost free, all right? When you can borrow not against a 4% SOFR, but you can borrow against at 1%. That's free money. You know what I'm saying? That's real free money. Number two, because I want to get off this thing. And number two, I'm only going to do two. Actually, I'm not going to do three. The market is so wise; it's a lead indicator to everything. The market will correct, right? It's so wise. In the way I understand it, is like the market is the magician behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz. And so if you watch the market, it is a lead indicator to things that will happen or potentially happen, because it's so wise and it always corrects itself. And that influences everything, influences all of our daily lives. And so I guess my challenge to you is, outside of understanding your own finances, personal finance, falling in love with finance, having a love affair with finance, understand how money works, go look on YouTube, take a masterclass. Like, there's plenty of information out there, but I think everybody should understand how capital works, how it grows, how it can shrink, how to stay ahead of it with inflation, how to use it for your business, how to leverage relationships, have conversation with bankers, and understand that your partners, not your enemies. It's all so important. It's literally been 3 days in New York City for me, because I think it's that damn important to drive there and have these conversations with all these bankers. So, all right, I'm home. I'm out. Talk to you.